you all to the art and science of building and managing talent communities and pipelines. So over this webinar, we'll be going through the following that you can see on the slide here. So we're going to go over the objectives of the presentation. Then we'll be going a bit about who is Mindfield and our presenter today. Then what are talent communities and pipelines, which is obviously what you've all come here to learn. What do you need to start to set them up? Then how can you actually integrate them right into your existing recruiting processes? What are the challenges that you need to be aware of? Q&A, and then some takeaways for you of things to do today and tomorrow to put what you're going to learn today into your process. So what you should be able to come out of this presentation or webinar with is a high-level overview about what are talent communities in Canada and pipelines. Have a good explanation and understanding of what are the differences between talent communities and Canada pipelines, because they're not both the same thing. A framework to evaluate your recruitment strategy and identify the areas for improvement. And then, obviously, for you to be able to leave here with a list of to-dos that you can implement tomorrow to start making use of these very valuable tools. So who is Mindfield Group? Mindfield Group is a recruitment process outsourcing organization. So we become your branded recruitment department, helping you find the candidates that you can't easily find. We work with clients across North America and have a variety of recruiting capabilities and skill sets. We have clients in a variety of industries, from retail and technology, construction and health services, and insurance, to name a few. We help every client find top quality talent using tools, social networks, and refined qualification processes. And we're based in Vancouver, British Columbia, founded in 2005. So for those of you that don't know where Vancouver, British Columbia is, you can see on this map here in North America, that little red outline there is the Vancouver, British Columbia area. So we're in Canada, obviously. If we zoom in here, you can see our exact location. So you can see the beautiful view of the water. And these little blue dots that you see all over are different pictures that you can see of Vancouver. So you can see Vancouver is a very photogenic city. We're a member of the Recruitment Process Outsourcing Association. And we've worked with a number of clients, from GrowthWorks to Mr. Lube, Best Buy, and Talent Technology, to name a few. So in a nutshell, we become our client's branded recruitment department. So just one last slide I want to go over. So we'll be sending you a link to access this recorded webinar by the end of next week. Any questions that you have for our presenter can be submitted on the right side of your screen in that question and answer box. We'll answer as many questions as we can, so we anticipate the presentation itself will take about 35 to 40 minutes, and then leaving about 15 minutes for all of your questions, so make sure to submit them as we're going along. If you have any questions about any of our services, you can either visit mindfieldgroup.com or phone our 1-800 number that you can see on the screen, and then ask for Jen and Erica. They'll be more than happy to go over anything that you've learned here, or to help leverage Mindfield Group within your own organization. So now I want to pass the webinar over to Cameron Lake, who's going to be our presenter, and he'll do a brief introduction about himself, as well as take us through the rest of this webinar today.
Great, thanks Jeff. Welcome everyone, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to take part in this webinar. As Jeff mentioned, if you've been on our previous webinars, what our absolute goal here is not to talk about theories and ideas, but to give you very practical tools and a practice to put these things in place. And talent pipelines and talent communities are talked about on a frequent basis, but I haven't seen anyone really try to explain how it's done, and we're going to go through some of our methodologies here today on how we do this. A little bit about myself. So I'm the CEO, founder of Mindfield Group. Previously worked for, paid my way through school at BCIT at Earls, and then spent my first couple of years out of school at an organization called Advancing Canadian Entrepreneurship, which is a non-for-profit that works with university and college students to create economic opportunity in their communities. It's a great site and a great organization. The website is ACE Canada if you're interested to have a look. And then finally graduated at BCIT in 2002 out of the business program there. So to get right into it, you can see our fancy clip art here that we've included. So what are talent communities? There's a couple different views on this. Talent communities are individuals or groups of individuals that are tied to your organization in some shape or form, and there's a couple different ways to define what those talent communities are. Next slide. So For the sake of today's presentation, we're going to define talent communities in two very specific ways. One is your current employees being defined as your current talent community. Many of you already run employee referral campaigns, and everyone, I believe, more likely has. That is a very real talent community that you leverage to go and drive new talent into your organization or to promote talent within. The other side is more of an external talent community, and these are individuals that obviously don't work at your organization but are your employees' networks, are interested candidates that may have applied to your roles in the past, and also essentially contacts of contacts. So there's, with the way Web 2.0 is now in social networks, there is phenomenal opportunities to leverage almost second-degree contacts through the use of smart technology and employee referral campaigns, which we'll talk about. So talent communities, basically, there's a couple different ways to actively, what are they basically, essentially? They can be actively marketed through, you can see the groups there on the bottom, as far as different groups of people. So those three different groups could be defined as your current employees, networks, and potentially past applicants. You've got obviously opportunities to market through print advertising, opportunities to market through print advertising and press releases. But essentially, these are a quick high level, essentially, of some tools and a quick snapshot of how we set this up. So I'm going to touch back on that. Candidate pipelines. So the difference between talent communities and candidate pipelines are candidates that are defined in some type of a role or a talent network within your organization. For example, a marketing pipeline, a sales pipeline, and I say sales pipeline as in sales candidate pipeline. They are absolutely your bullpen of candidates. And this is not dissimilar to the approach that recruitment agencies take. When you think about niche recruitment agencies and agencies that specialize in certain areas, they may be specializing in IT. So they'll have pipelines of candidates that are system administrators, they'll have pipelines of candidates that are .NET developers, and they're actively marketing new opportunities as they come up. That practice can be absolutely applied right to your organization. So the pipeline activity, and again, I mean, I've got to set the stage here a little bit on some definitions, and we'll get into the description of how this is done in a second. But essentially, your talent community is more or less your, if you look at it from a sales and marketing perspective, your talent community is essentially your leads list, people that have stated interest in your company or through referral campaigns, and your pipeline is essentially your qualified prospects. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense, just to put it into an analogy that I think is pretty clear-cut from a sales and marketing perspective. So pipelines it's critical to manage these pipelines, but they're best used, obviously, for jobs that are open. So again, you have a job that pops up, and you need to be able to go, say you've got a marketing manager role that pops up within your organization. These pipelines, then, the way they're built and the way they're architected is for filling that marketing role in a short period of time. So they're essentially, the best way to group these things are again via kind of skill specialty, right? Again, marketing, operations, sales, and IT. Just next slide there, Jeff. So the way they're used in concert, if you think about your overall marketing activity and the way that they're managed, if you think about your talent community as your overall lead pipeline, so you're trying to drive candidates consistently in and leverage those networks. And again, for this definition of this webinar, talent community is either perceived as your internal employee base or external employee base that includes past applicants, that includes your employees' contacts, but then also some key lists that you may have built within, ideally, your applicant tracking system. So the benefit here, everybody knows what it's like, is you get that new role open, and you get that marketing role open, a sales role, and you keep on questioning why you haven't managed those past applicants in the past, or why you turn that pipeline off. The reason you need to do this, and the core benefits, is is you'll have a group of candidates that you can readily go and make aware of new job opportunities, which ultimately is going to lower your time to hire. And everybody knows that your top candidates and your top hires always come from some kind of referral, specifically employee referrals. So the benefit of building this out essentially is the fact that you're going to have a set of candidates that are pre-screened and interested, but also people that have some kind of an emotional attachment to your brand because you've looked after them. This is going to do wonders for your employment brand. So the idea of working on departments and department flow versus open recs, this is the opportunity to get ahead of the game a little bit. Everyone on this call, I can guarantee, has a department or a couple roles within their organization that they always need to hire for consistently. You don't know necessarily when it's going to happen. You may have a big call center. You may have a big inside sales team. You may have consistent need for developers if you're a software firm. So for whatever reason, we always choose to wait till that job opens and then go redo everything and reset it from the start. Whereas what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to basically be working on those positions 365 days a year with some simple setup. This is going to lower the cost of acquiring candidates. If candidates have, or past applicants, and we did a survey about a year ago on a series of around 25 jobs, and we sent emails out to candidates that were rejected. And the specific question, and these were all for specific clients, but the question we asked was, how was your experience? And although you weren't selected for a job, are you open to hearing about more opportunities? And also, are you willing to let your friends and your networks know about opportunities with this company? And what we found was because of their solid and positive experience they had through the recruitment process, they had built some kind of affinity. And I know this may sound funny, but rejecting candidates in a polite manner, or at least letting them know that they're not going to be a fit for the role, is a great step as far as employment branding. So it does amazing things for your awareness, because when you leverage these groups of people versus the random email that comes in, they don't know where it's coming from. If you manage this group, it'll do wonders for your viral marketing campaigns. And ultimately lower your need to use outside firms as far as agencies and so forth, and high-priced job boards for that matter. To that next point, again, is this approach this is a best practice of the top recruitment agencies in North America and even the world, is their ability to manage a pipeline for a specific type of role or department is critical to their operations. And what you're seeing in companies like Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Google, as far as the ones that have been publicized, these guys are absolute experts at doing this. And they essentially they identify what those 5 or 6 or 10 departments or roles or profiles that they need to consistently hire for, and they have individuals just dedicated to driving interested candidate flow in. And that's what they do every single day. So this is obviously ahead of the curve proactive type strategy, which for some of you on the call think, you got to be kidding me, we're just trying to fill our open roles. But until you get some kind of a strategy like this in place, you're never going to get ahead of the game. I should put a disclaimer on this. This is not a 30-day fix. This is something you've got to commit to for at least 6 months to start seeing some of the value from it. You're absolutely going to see better candidates, and one of the big metrics that we track internally is how long does it take to source the hired candidate, which we find is critical because we can assess our sourcing activities very accurately that way. So it'll also help you lower that time. Jeff, do you want to touch on this one here?
Yeah, so what we want to do is do a quick little poll about, based on candidate initial description, how many of you are actively using